There'll be a nest. Maybe he'll come.
I do my job.
Baruch Hashem. Baruch Hashem, thank you.
Being dinner,
So where are we?
with some Himmel.
We're in the Ner? No. Yeah? I don't think so.
We didn't get there.
I don't think so. I think we're in the middle of the Suda. Having a Suda out of Shabbos, no?
Oh, so then, okay.
Where would that be?
What you allowed to eat on Friday afternoon and whatnot?
I think
Yeah, you skipped it.
Where was that?
maybe we skipped to it, right?
Yes.
Never Shabbos?
Reish Mem Tes.
Reish Mem Tes?
Yeah, Simin Reish Mem Tes. No. Simin Reish Mem Tes.
I'll find it. What?
Okay, page I involve. Make it easier. I think it's page I involve by everyone.
One
I
second.
involve.
Yeah.
Baruch HaKol,
What's
Hashem Yigdvari.
What's it?
Siv Tes.
Top of the page.
Oh.
Top of the page. So let's just recap what we're holding. Rabbi said, because of Kovod Shabbos, we should have a Suda.
Yeah.
Should be able to have the Suda Karoi. What is not supposed to be Keveya. What is not supposed to be Keveya.
We should talk about Mashiach. We talked about you just a second ago.
Ah,
Talk
look
about
at
the
there. There was one time there's a Yid in Crown Heights. His name is Mashiach Hadaitov. His first name is Mashiach.
Last name.
His first name is Mashiach
And last name.
Hudaitov.
Who died to? That's not the son.
Right near the Ohel, there's a pepper, and it says up in the Tzeba.
So it's a Sfard. I think there are Sfardim. They have the name Mashiach, right?
Yeah.
So he's Sfardi background originally,
Yeah.
and his father, he didn't have children for a number of years after they were married, and his father was an older. He became a Chabad Chassid, but he was a Sfardi background, and he came to the Rebbe, and he came up to the Rebbe asking the Rebbe for a bracha by the Fabrengen for his son Mashiach.
Yeah.
And the Rebbe wanted to give l'chaim, it seems, to his son. So the Rebbe called out to the crowd, "Who is Mashiach?" Now the crowd didn't know anything about this fellow Mashiach is here, and his
The Rebbe's Mashiach.
and he's saying, the Rebbe is saying, "Who is Mashiach? Where's Mashiach? What do you think the Chassidim? Chassidim, what are they thinking already?" The Rebbe's looking around, saying, "Who is Mashiach?" They're like, "Oh, well, he's Mamish here. He's in the room. He's here. Who is Mashiach?"
Right.
But then Mashiach Hadaita pulled up, so they understood what was the kavan over here.
Rabbi, my Michoel was Mashiach. His name was Mashiach.
Oh?
And my sister told me, she's 8 years older than me, and I was crying with a breath. So when he went out, he went to Sklonia and was running.
With the mile.
Yeah, because he
Made you
made
cry.
my brother crying. They didn't know what, So she took few kids from the.
There's somebody named Mashiach
Yeah.
right by the Rebbe's OL, right by the OL.
That's what someone was saying, yeah.
And he told me that
Right there.
later on.
The Russian.
He
The
want,
mile told you.
yeah, he want his son to my sister,
Oh.
the one that threw a stone on him. It did not work out.
By the way, there's also another individual in Christ from an Iranian background, a Persian, and his last name is Mashiach. The family last name is Mashiach. So it's a first name, a last name. Okay, so Lamaisa,
If you have a
We spoke-
baby in the sense of Ahmed will be interesting.
Nachemendel Mashiach. Nandi Mashiach. Now,
We spoke about what you're allowed to eat and when on Friday.
right, so we basically brought out that you're not allowed to be Keveya a Su'udas Mitzvah. Let's rephrase it. You're not allowed to be Keveya Suda Shal Mishta, a Suda Gdoila Shal Mishta, an Erev Shabbos, even in the morning, because it's a Kovod Shabbos, because you're going to be Marban and Chilosh Sia Erev Shabbos, you won't be able to have Keroi, Suda Shabbos. You're not going to want to eat the Machalim, you're just going to eat the bare minimum. Not going to be Kovod Shabbos.
What do you do whenever breeds and opinion of that?
I don't know if it's that you're not going to eat for Taiva. I'm not sure that's the word. Maybe it means that you're not going to have the
Like Shabbos.
all the Oneg Shabbos, the Kovod Shabbos. Yeah, you're not going to have all the deli. You'll take your little challah, your kazayas, and that's it.
That's it.
So you're not allowed to be keveya suda kavua shamishta even in the morning. Now, however, that's even and that's even a sudas mitzvah, not only a sudas rashus, even if it's a sudas mitzvah. However, Poskim explain there is an exception. If the sudas mitzvah is kavua bay bayom, meaning if the mitzvah had to happen that day, a bris, you can't push off the bris.
Yeah.
So then the suda also you're allowed to have that day, even though it's a suda she'eni ragol b'meisachoil, nice fancy spread. You're allowed to have.
There's a certain time.
Pidyon haben,
Also.
Pidyon haben, as well.
Would it have to be for Chatzot? Yes, for a certain time or?
A pidyon, it could be, doesn't have to be before Chatzos.
It's Doiche Oneg Shabbos.
A pidyon. What does he say? What will be later? What later on you can't eat on Shabbos? You can't eat. You'll make up by day.
I see.
You're not eating. Good, but this is also a mitzvah. What's pushing? This is a mitzvah. Now doing a mitzvah. What will be later? What will be later? And now not doing a mitzvah. What will be later? Will be later. Now, and you'll be able to make up tomorrow. But the Yevid, you can make up the next day. Tashlumim. But we said it's only by something which should not be pushed off. Also, Eris and Nisun shouldn't be pushed off because various reasons. So even though the Suda and could be pushed off, but since the mitzvah can't be pushed off, you don't push off the Suda either. We don't require you to split up the Suda and the mitzvah. If the mitzvah is Kavua Bay B'Yom that you're supposed to do that day, then the Suda's mitzvah
is a mitzvah.
But even a Suda's mitzvah, you're not allowed to be keveya l'chatchil. Let's say Sudasim Mesichta. You can't be keveya. If it's any ragab b'meisachoil, it's not just a little schnapps and cookies. You give out fleishigs, a lavish spread, and the gvir finishes basra.
Yeah.
Right. So he puts out a lavish spread. So
What do you do in the 9 days? What did it seem?
So l'maisa, that you have to push off. But if the mitzvah is not to be pushed off, the suda also doesn't have to be pushed off.
Goes hand in hand.
Hand in hand. But one thing we said, even a suda, we're going to learn now, even a suda shiragul babi meisachel, a normal meal, a lunch, a supper on Erev Shabbos, even though you're allowed to have that a whole day up until Shia, you're allowed to wash min hadin, there's a mitzvah to have it, to start it before Shah Sidis, before the 10th hour of the day finishes. Okay. So the same thing would be by this sudas mitzvah, even if it's a sudas mitzvah. Shekavua b'bay b'yom, sudas habris, which is the most common thing over here is the sudas habris.
Yeah.
It has to be done now.
So before Shas.
Better to be done before Shabbos, which is in the morning, is way before Shabbos is way after Chatzos.
Yeah.
Chatzos is 6 hours into the day. Shabbos is already 10 hours into the day.
That's a long game. Yeah.
So you have in the morning is no problem to make this was a bris. The Alter Rebbe does mention another point that we mentioned, that it's toiv that only a minyan mitzumsim should eat by this. We spoke about only a minyan of your friends should be invited, besides for the relatives and those that are getting kibudim,
I mean the Bali Simcha.
Sandik and the Valley Simcha, or by Chasana, the Shushvinim, the Unterfiris. Besides for the relatives and those individuals, you can have one more minyan. That's toiv. The Maisa, we don't see it's the minig.
No.
You see those brisim Friday mornings, what do they look like to you?
Before
Only 10 friends there?
No, before Shas.
Those are finished long before Chatzos.
Before Shas.
This toiv is even
That's
before
the day?
Shas. It's the whole day.
Yeah.
Toiv.
But we
But-
don't like very.
Oh, the Alter Rebbe explained, and we read a little bit last week of the Christmas Akron on the bottom. We read a line or two, few lines, that the minig, even though it comes out from the poskim that's toif to do it that way, the minig was not to do that way. The minig was to be mekel. And the Alter Rebbe explains that we're not, wherever they were noyig a minig, l'chomer you're noyig. If you're not noyig, there's no chiyuv to be manig a new minig. So although it's toif to do it, but the minig was not that way like the toif, and therefore there's no chiyuv. Someone privately wants to be machmer, you can be machmer. It's such a makom lahachmer. But the minig was to be mekel, and you can't be manig a new. You're not manig a new minig. we have no chiyuv to be manag and uminnig. We have only a chiyuv to keep our menhagim. It's an al titash toydesi mecha. We have an obligation to continue our menhagim.
Yeah.
We continue our menhagim. Al titash toydesi mecha. To create an uminnig, we don't have a chiyuv. We don't have a chiyuv to create new menhagim. That's what the Alter Rebbe says. So therefore, the oilam is Michoel, and they have the sudas habris, or whatever sudas pigin haben. And again, I said I don't understand how the upshanishin could be. I think have to be an issue when the 3 years they should not have a lavish
Meal.
whole thing. You want to make a lunch and have cream cheese bagels and eggs.
Yeah.
It could be normal, but if it's a studish in ragba meisachol, seems to me that this is problematic a whole day even from the morning because it's not a sudas mitzvah apidin. There's no chiv to have a suda. No chiv to have a suda by the.
Why can't you make it Thursday night? Thursday night.
You can make it Thursday night, right? There's no chiv. Many people do it Thursday night. They would rather not do it on a Friday.
Right.
They'd rather not do it on a Friday.
Do you see anyone who discusses about the upsharing?
And I mentioned to you that this is an issue that I would have personally with my son that was born this year out of Pesach. So by the year of his bar mitzvah, the bar mitzvah is sudas mitzvah shakua by bayayim. So I can have the lavish meal, but they have another issue. Chametz
Before
the night before, no, then a little bit because chametz there's no bar mitzvah happening. No one's coming to your house. They're busy in the vacuums,
Vacuum cleaning.
the cars. Then no one's coming to you, and you can't have earlier on in the night because you have chiyuv b'dika.
You can be bayom with
It can't be done the day before. It's
not
the whole
bayom.
thing is a minhag. It can't be done.
You don't have a chiyuv to make a sudas mitzvah, by the way.
What I mean
A whole
is
lavish spread.
it can't be done
You're supposed to have a
before.
suda,
Yeah.
but you don't have a chiyuv to make a lavish spread.
You could make the cookies from Pesach. What is it called? The shiakol.
Yeah.
That doesn't count. That's the.
What do you do? It's
But again, you could, if you have a hole, you have those holes, like we said, you have those holes that they're going to lock it up for Pesach. If they let you make a whole chametzik thing, then you can make an early morning lavish.
Meal.
It can't be done before.
I want to tell you something else. A lot of times people push off, like during Sfira, they push off the Suda to like Boimer, to after Sfira. But in this case, it's like you're going to push it off to really, you have to push it for for a while. And doing it makdim, you're not makdim, you're only ma'acher.
I have a problem with
With
this.
Chalamayit, you could do some matzahs, have fruit and matzahs.
Rabbi, I have a problem with it. If the seudas in the morning, 8, 9, 10, and it's a long day, so Friday night,
You'll be hungry
7, 8
already.
o'clock, you'll be hungry. So just have the seudah.
I don't have an answer to that question. The only answer is that there was a loy plug. Loy chilku b'chachamim. The short days, the long days, and the winter days in the morning. And there's also some individuals that they don't eat much. If they eat a full meal, I don't really understand how it works with the summer days. But I'm assuming it's a word like chilku chachamim. They're not going to get involved in these certain days are very long, certain days are very short. Exactly when you're doing it, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. So then there's going to be all these gedarim. They said it's not kavod by bayoim. Don't do it. We're not getting involved. We're going to have to start giving them the hours of the day, the time of the year. If you have a need to do it today, medach. If you don't have a need for it today, chachamim v'gzeirasam, we're very more blanket.
Yeah.
Not getting in all. Let's take a look inside now. Siftas. Suda sheraga b'meisachel.
Where are we?
On the top of page I involved. Suda sheraga
You must.
b'mois hachol. Taina suda ktana she'ina shel mishta. Like we said, min hadin muter lo eichla b'kol hayoyim. You can have lunch. You can wash for your lunch. Wash for a supper on a long summer day. You can have a supper. It's a regular meal. No problem. I feel samal chasheicha. Have a mitzvah limana malakoyba mitchilas shah asidus from the beginning of the 10th hour. Kedei sheikanes l'Shabbos shutoyev v'yoichel to the Shabbos of Teyavim.
I know in the summer in the country.
Over here, I want to make it clear. Actually, it says over here it should be from the beginning of the 10th hour, which means after 9 hours pass by, which means a half hour before Mincha Gedolah.
It could be like 12 o'clock in the summer, 12, 1 o'clock.
Not now.
No, I'm saying it's summer.
The
It's
winter,
summer.
you mean?
No.
No, it's 10 hours, 10th hour.
The day.
If the day starts at 6 in the morning, it'll be 4 o'clock.
Mincha Ketana, a half hour before Mincha Ketana. It's much later in the day.
No, how can 10 o'clock? 1 o'clock.
No, it's 10th
No,
hour.
no,
4
it's
o'clock.
Mincha to now. Mincha Gedolah is when 12:30.
Yeah.
So what's Mincha Gedolah? It's much later.
2 hours.
3 hours. More than that.
3 o'clock. Let's say a half hour before, around the half hour before, till 2:30. You have plenty of time to wash before that. You want to eat a little bit later on. You could I didn't eat up until Hasheich. You could wash everything as long as Suda Shakam Esachel. But mitzvah to refrain from having a Suda, so you could eat a little here, want to eat a little piece of chicken here, but to sit down and have a whole set yourself up a meal and sit down, that's nish. That's a mitzvah nehimana.
Right.
Now, Kadesh Yikonas al Shabbos Shutoyev Lechol V'Yoichol so the Shabbos li Te'oven. So it seems that this mitzvah over here is L'Te'oven. What it seems from the halachis over here, that earlier on we had the Suda She'eni Ragam Eisachel Suda Shamishta. He said, "You're not going to the Kaim. It's a Shabbos Kuroi." That seemed to be much a stronger point. Over here, there's an Indian. It's mitzvah mana because you're not going to have Te'oven. You're going to have taiva. You're going to eat, but it's not going to be with the taiva. It's not with the taiva. But earlier we're talking about an isser. An isser, it's not a mitzvah. It's an isser to have a suda because you won't be Mekai Mekiroi. Seems to be much stronger. Vart.
What that mean though?
Not
How
just
we
you're
can break
missing.
it down?
Not just you're missing the taiva in it.
Well, what are you missing?
I'm not sure. Maybe you won't have any tafshilim. We'll just have the minimum, or maybe you won't be able to wash.
No bread.
Maybe you won't feel any. You won't be able to eat pashit. Not only te'oven. Over here, you're going to eat, but you won't have the te'oven. Want to create more te'oven? You should be a little hungry.
They're hungry.
You should be a little hungry. Have te'oven.
Yeah.
Right.
Like now in the winter when you
So that's why it's only a
miss
mitzvah.
eating the meal, you don't have time to eat
Can
something.
eat.
So this you're doing it for a mitzvah.
That's it.
To eat and drink without a kviyas suda being kivesa, but sit down, have a meal. You don't have to stop, not even between mitzvah. Ad til chashecha. Dahainu ad ben hashmashes. She's bar. Simish al ayin al. Chutz and Erev Pesach. Erev Pesach we already have different halachas.
He said matzah te'oven.
Yeah, you need to have matzah too. Sif Yod. Aval acha shechashecha.
As long as it doesn't ruin the person's tail, then, right? What are you saying? Whatever.
I don't know. Is it subjective or is it an objective ideal? And you want to eat a little piece of chicken, a little fish, but you're sitting down with a ganze das, mitzvah limana. You have to remember, it's not an isser, mitzvah limana. Don't tell someone if someone's doing it, you don't have to say one word to them. This is a mitzvah means that you have to know mitzvah limana. Darf ich sagen der andere.
Until his 10th hour.
When we're starting the 10th hour. When we're starting, the 10th hour is starting, yeah.
I went to hotels for Shabbos.
Yeah.
On Friday they give you Oneg Shabbos.
The Tayamel, no? How does it, that doesn't sound,
The Tayamel over there, you come into Shabbos, you can't touch nothing.
well, that's a Suda Sheini Rog V'Meisachel. It's Suda Shamishta.
That's a story.
At what time do they, that's a big, I don't know how, we have to figure out that the Shaila.
Exactly.
Tea room is open all the
They'll
time.
mastam at Taine that it's buffet and they don't serve you. So not bekviyas. Well, Taine it's lechem delicious, but kviyas Suda. That's what they'll figure out a heter over there. So heter, I'm not sure. It's a good shaila. And by the way, if it's a Suda Shal Mishta, if it's Mamish Shal Mishta, it's not going to help you. It's Isser even by Boike.
Yeah.
So it's not going to help you. So we have the taina that must be that it's not Suda Shal Mishta. I don't know. That could depend on how if it's a 5-star hotel or not.
And how they call it.
A 5-star hotel
Almost cater. The time is Spanish.
overdone.
Overwhelming.
Everything.
Who's the caterer?
Kovod, Cholon.
Google Channel is a small thing. About 10
So
different meats.
it overmatches the sud itself. Huh?
Yes. Over just meat. Over like 10
But
different
this,
and
what's
fish.
Somebody's gonna see the feet right now. A whole nother.
they don't have any problem. There's no thinking of they still have the day off.
Somehow they could.
Well, there's an expression, the Malach of Achila never sleeps.
You know what? It could be for these people. This is maybe Sola Sharagava Meisachel. I don't know what they eat every night for supper.
Maybe he's preparing for Shabbat. So you eat. I'm starting to eat for Shabbat from 10 o'clock in the morning.
And they call it only to Omea, like I'm testing, not eating a whole meal.
What's your brother-in-law's name?
Gutman.
Kutman, he's a big caterer.
Shabbat?
Where is he a caterer?
Satmer.
Why over it?
He has also a takeout, just catering.
Yeah, he did good catering in his bread, right? Bread.
Fleischigs?
That was small. That was not like.
Yeah, but a lot of food.
Yeah, but that's small.
That was small. It was very small.
I was in a simcha in a hotel with this person in Shabbos.
Yeah.
I said to myself, "Ribono Shalom, with this all food going,
Yeah.
and the people sitting and eating and eating. It's like, I just can't believe it."
I one time won, we won many years ago, like maybe 10 years ago. So my wife, she put in these tickets in this Chinese auctions, you know. So we won to the kosher mountain retreat, the Warner Brothers. They have these KMR. You see these advertisements all over.
In the
Now they became very popular, but then they were just in the beginning, 10 years, and we won. It was in the summer. It was in Colorado. It just cost us a lot of money to get there and to rent the car. But we had
Costs more money.
5 days, 4 nights free in the hotel. And we came to this place, and it wasn't over Shabbos, but there was so much macholim. It was like Shik's caterer, one of these big caterers.
Yeah.
And it was so funny. After these meals, that they have like these 3-hour meals. Breakfast is 3 hours.
Yeah.
With macholim, like, there's no tomorrow.
Give it dessert.
Do you know what this whole hotel was about? Not about what you do. It's about food.
Food. That's
It's
it.
a 3-hour breakfast, a 3-hour lunch, a 3-hour supper. You have some small breaks in between. And after you walk out of the hotel room, I'm telling you, you'll be shocked. There's like someone from the hotel, he sits there with all the medications, the laxatives, to deal with the Pepto-Bismols, with all the various laxatives over there, to people after those meals. They're offering you all these things.
Totally.
Mom is shocking.
When it comes to the hotels and kosher hotels, they'll give you all the food every meal because they know the average person is not going to have 3 different mains, breakfast, lunch, and supper. So they'll give you steak. You want to eat steak every meal, fine, but the average person is not going to have steak. One day they'll have fish, one day they'll have chicken, one day they'll have burgers. So they'll give you steak every meal because they know the average person is not going to do that.
It's not the steak. It's the way they cut the meat. Different ways. The way they cut.
Carving.
But this, it's
What they do, and after the meal, it's not like the meal. They put in a tea room. They put it in the tea room. What is in this tea room? These meals guffer are like what the smaller hotels serve. That's what the tea room is.
It's more than that. If you ever go in kosher, see the restaurants, it's like people didn't eat all day. Because they're all filled, thank God. And it's like people didn't eat Shabbos meals the whole day. They're in the restaurant right after Shabbos, and they're eating like they didn't eat the whole day.
And the hotel have a scale?
No, of course not. Of course not. We'll ruin everything.
Spleishik restaurants open months of Shabbos.
Yeah,
People eating steaks.
Matzah Shabbos.
Well, the Malach of Achila never sleeps.
Melave Malka. It's nice.
A lot of Malka.
Malka, we're not yet.
Okay, Rabbi say.
you.
We have a Kabbalah from the son of the Alter Rebbe, Reb Chaim Avram. So one time on Shabbos, someone saw what he was eating for Suda Shabbos. He had some bread mit knubbel, bread and garlic. That was the garlic, they make the bread a little. That was your dish. He had some bread and garlic. So someone said to him, "I need Suda Shabbos. I need Shabbos." He said he was makabel from his father, the Alter Rebbe, that in mitzvah shahaguf nena mehen, there's no ingin to be mahader. You don't have to be mahader in it. If you're enjoying it, there's mahader.
You don't have to be Moshe.
Okay, we have Oneg Shabbos, there is dinim, but don't overdo it. He went the other way, but remember, is that the Baal Shem Tov, there's a famous story of the Baal Shem Tov. The Baal Shem Tov showed the Talmidim that I think he told them that he should put the hands around. He showed them a vision of an axe with a streimel and a bekeshe,
Also,
an ox. What was it? And he was saying that basically, if you eat the macholim with such a be'etzem, it's a behema with a streimel. So you know the makom shemetzayni shel adam. We're all not tzaddikim, but we all enjoy the macholim and we should have a nice Suda Shabbos and a Suda Yom Tov. But we have to remember that's not the Ingen. Loizahu Ingen. Loizahu Shabbos. Ingen Shabbos is a ruchnistic time, and then the Divrei Torah, and the Nigunim, everything else. Okay.
To make you hungry and fight after now.
There's a very interesting halacha over here. Sifyur. What happens? It's already became shkia, or you took in Shabbos early, right? And now you want to make kiddush and eat some food before the main meal. Is there any limits what you can eat after kiddush before the main meal? I want to have like a kiddush, let's say, right? Any limits to the kiddush?
what happened?
Friday night. Mitzvah lihimana milechol shum davar. Afilu b'loi kvi suda. Afilu la'acha shekiddush al hakois. Koidem achilas ikus of the Shabbos. Dani melechem shemavarach al hamoitzi she'ikus of the Shabbos. Shebo adeni yois dechevs gimel sudas. So,
What does it mean? You make kiddush and then going to start eating before washing?
huh?
You made kiddush.
Made kiddush before you washed. You want to have some other foods before you wash.
So then you're not
That's
allowed.
some other foods.
If you wash, then you're allowed to.
He said you're not allowed.
No, I'm
Not
saying
allowed
if you
to.
wash,
Mitzvah.
you make kiddush and you wash, then you're allowed to eat what you want.
What, in the
But
morning?
Right?
That's why
That's
I'm
a
After that,
suda.
don't eat. Even if you
If
make
you made kiddush and you're now want to eat them before you wash,
then you're allowed.
mitzvah, not osir. Mitzvah again, the mana, but over here, it's not, the mitzvah is a different level of mitzvah. The mitzvah is not only to not have a kaviyah, so the mitzvah is, kaviyah is not a problem. You can make a suda and wash, then it's a suda.
Right.
The mitzvah is not even to have beli kaviyah suda to start gnashing on things then.
Now, in the morning, it seems to be
We have
different
the
because
because of the third.
So, before Musaf, Shem Yoichel Michoel Acher Koidem Achilas Alechem, Pejayin Ches, Le Yoichel Alechem at the oven.
And with this is
You're not going to eat the challah, which is the Iker Suda, at the oven. You have no more interest in the challah. You just had a few dishes, just tasted had a bunch of dishes right before Hamoitzi. So you're not anymore have any more taiva to eat the Kol Mokim in Limches Biyad Hamekilim. Given Shemenadin in Chiyuv Gomer Lechol so the Shabbos oven. You can't be moiche on those that are mekel, because api halacha there's no chiyuv gomer to eat suda Shabbos oven. It's like we said earlier, it's a mitzvah
also.
to eat the oven.
No.
So what are you doing? Shabbos, a lot of times Shabbos after davening is a big kiddush, and they make kiddush. No, what here they make kiddush already, but by Yom they make kiddush and they eat a lavish kiddush.
Friday night, you shouldn't have a whole.
Herring,
before you watch.
You know, kugu. By the time you go back home, you have no appetite. You get- What do you say about that?
That's it. Not you can do it. When you see,
All right, yeah.
Again, I'm sorry.
It's no problem.
A lot of times in shul, and it's after shacharis.
You have a kiddush.
A big kiddush, a lavish kiddush.
Right.
You have the kugu and cake and
the gun wash and eat.
herring, this, and you stuff yourself. And then by the time you get back home, take the silda, which say, make the motzi, which is the second silda, which is the chiyuv, you have no appetite. Well, why they don't, not much against that?
Bring a bulk of the shul next time.
He says over here in the
They
law,
don't do that. They don't do it. They
the
don't-
kiddush, he's very busy with the kiddush.
And then you
It's
don't know-
long pilpul.
You're not going to stop.
It's the herring in shul.
The herring is good.
A kichel and herring.
Oh, yeah.
And another one.
Yeah, that's what it was.
You know,
It's a good point. You can't tie him a soda. Can't say minig in a soda. Well, what did they have? A little sponge cake?
what are you talking about?
What was the kiddush?
Herring with a kichel, that was it.
Herring and a kichel, right?
Where?
He's saying, what was kiddushin when you were younger?
They were close
20,
to
30 years ago. Even.
Oh. I had, yeah, kiddush there, how much,
They want you to eat and to have fun.
Kiddush is bigger than the Suda.
Bigger than the suit.
Bigger than the
So what
Suda.
do you do? What do you do? Walk away?
Kiddush club.
He says over here, I just want to read.
Don't need to you make a living, this and that. That's hard. Just make 5 dollars and 8 going this.
I felt for that a lot of times.
I want to tell you
No
one
way.
thing.
I have
Because
no
I just
clue.
want to. I just read from you 2 lines of the pilpul, a long pilpul on Dalad on the bottom of the page. You see this long kasach and it goes over 4 pages,
It's got
4 sides. He said, "Ein limches, huskakti lekach." I needed to explain to
This din.
this din. The fisha pashot lechol mine vesika mekachas koidem asud veloy michom behem rabban kishishoy.
What these
The
words
minute
mean.
pashut is that people do eat sweets and cakes before Suda, and the older Chachamim don't say anything.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. also.
Imam, and this is also connected to what he says later in Yud Aleph, but we'll have to read Yud Aleph first, if Yud Aleph. The reason is with them. There's certain types of foods that you don't eat them during the meal, cakes and sweets. It's only the derech to eat it on an empty stomach. Then you go eat these certain types of foods.
Yeah.
But as a meal, you don't serve it in the meal.
No.
So in that case, it's
Today-
different.
Today is not verkehrt. Today you serve all the stuff after the by dessert. Right? Mamish verkehrt.
Yeah.
Nobody serve all the dessert in the beginning. Nobody.
Saying there are things that you snack on when you're a person's hungry, you snack
Hungry.
on something, eat something, but it's not
It's not the Suda.
soda. It's not a soda.
Told me there's a Gemara that says that even when you're full, but when it comes to sweets, suddenly you have room for it.
Right. Right? It says that. Yeah, the
Yeah.
Gemara does say that.
It's like this chasanis nowadays, the fancy chasanis, right after the chuppah,
Big
before the
small.
meal, or before the chuppah, the
Kabbalah
Smoke is
Spanish.
one.
smoking balls. What do they give you over there? You're not sitting to eat.
They give a chilagasa.
Now, Rabbi say, over here, by the way, again, it's not an isser. This kiddush is not an isser. We said it's a mitzvah not to eat things before hamoitzi. Okay?
And if somebody do it, don't
It's
watch
not an
it.
isser. No. But medvarim amorim, that's not an isser in Sifir Aleph. Kisha oichel oisei Michoel koydem hasuda Sifir Aleph. Machme shechafetz umisave laoichle koydem hasuda v'lei b'teich hasuda. When you want to eat that food before the meal and not during the meal. Aval imasha oichle koydem hasuda. Umachme sheroitze lahashel meya brachis. So we're talking about a case that you want to eat foods. You don't want to eat it during your meal. It's not meal foods. It's before the meal. You have a few things, but you're not serving this in the meal. You want to put out a few dishes that you don't eat during a meal. But that, he says, it's a mitzvah li'imana, not a chiyuv. But what happens if the reason why you're eating before the suda is because you want to have meya brachas?
Brachas, yeah. See.
You have a shamayim, you want to make, and Shabbos it's harder to get meya brachas because you don't have all those longer shemon esreis and.
Yeah.
Aber masha oichle koide masudo machma shroitze lahashe me brachas adeish me varachol gam bracha achreina shoiche koide masudo. You made a bracha rishoina and a bracha achreina. Shein nifte brachas amazon shalach hasudo. When you make a bracha achreina when you eat it before the suda, but that's the halacha. If you eat something before a meal, you make the bracha. Yeah? Yesh bazeh iser gamor min adin she'asur ligreim chiyuv bracha k'she'efshel lepoitra bracha acheres. Voidish iser masha makte birchas oisei Michoel lebirchas alechem shebirchas alechem kedemes l'chol habrachas. 2 issues. Number 1, it's a chiyuv of a bracha. You're making a bracha she'ein tzricha. You can make all the eat it during the meal, not make separate brachas. You want to be a chacham and you want to be mashamei brachas. I'm going to eat the appetizers before. I'll make brachas before and after on them and have now more brachas for the mashamei brachas. You're making brachas in tzrichas because you could just do it in the meal and be koilel it in the meal. Another issue is that you're being makdim the bracha, that bracha before lechem. Lechem is more chashuv, and it's chita.
Yeah.
So it comes before the other, everything else. However, when we were talking in Sif Yod, we said that min hadin, you're allowed to do that. You're allowed to have it before. It's not because you want to do it for the Meya Brachas. It's not because really it's part of the Suda. Just you're splitting your Suda up because you want to mash Meya Brachas. No, these are type of foods and sweets that you don't want to eat during your meal. You don't want it.
It's not part of it.
It's not part of the meal. Then you don't know chiv because it's not one unit. When they're really one part of one suda, so then when you mak the brachas to the other, it's a problem. But this is a separate idea. I'm doing this. I don't want this during the meal. But this is not the meal. This is not the suda.
But that night today, you know, with these lavish kiddishes, it's mamish part of the soda. Kugel, this. How come they're not careful with this?
Most of the people eat.
You says
I'm
brach
not sure.
shenet a brach shenet. That's
You're
all.
asking why they don't keep the mitzvah.
The
the
most of the
month.
people are
I'm not
eating
sure. It's a good question.
and go home.
Achille gasa, mam shachille gasa.
If you're having a lunch at the
It's
shul,
not,
you're having kiddush,
Well, you know,
you
sucking candy here. You know what
I
I
mean,
mean?
even
That
if you're
that
having
part of
a
the
lunch
sugar.
at the
Mom
shul,
shachille
it's part of the
gasa.
sukkah, it's a
Right.
bracha, it's a
Right.
it's a Shabbat bracha.
Whatever it is.
So you have kiddush, you have
I'm just
They-
thinking. I'm
they
just
always
thinking.
call it
I'm only
the
just thinking. There is a little difference in this case and that case.
you're going to be
Because over
washing
here
right
you're going
after
home and you're having the food a little later, right?
Yeah.
Over here we're talking
there's
it's back to
an
back.
exit.
So I'm wondering if that makes a
I
chilik.
mean, you have sucking zman, you can
Maybe
isolate one. with
maybe
the
that
other.
sucker's man will change it that it's not even a mitzvah. Over here they're talking about Shulchan Aruch. It's not really the exact scenario, the tziyur of the way we have it in shul. Shul, you have a kiddush after davening, then you go home and half hour later, 45 minutes later, whatever it is, you get your suda ready and you have your suda. Over here we're talking about that right before your meal, you make kiddush, and before you wash, you serve some dishes before you wash. That he's saying that's an issue.
How long would the hefsek
But
have to be?
Maybe the hefsek changes things. Maybe that changes
How
things.
come he does?
You have a lichet, a different house, a different
How
house, a
long
different
would the hefsek
zman.
have to be?
How come the Rebbe and the Rebbe doesn't make a distinction? That's what you're saying. You're making a distinction. Why would you bother to make that distinction? Make that,
He doesn't ever discuss our kiddushim. I don't know.
Because then they didn't have too much money. They didn't have.
They didn't have them.
Maybe they didn't have it. Maybe it wasn't the minute those days. No, really. Maybe the concept of having a kiddush in shul wasn't customary. When did the concept of having a kiddush in shul?
Right?
You go home, you make kiddush at home.
They were so poor. They were so poor. They make a kiddush in the shul, so people will listen to kiddush on the wine. That's how bad it was.
I don't even know, by the way, in the shuls, I don't know of the old shuls, if they had like meals in the shuls and everything like that. Maybe if there was a kiddush, they went to someone's house. They had like someone made a simcha, they went to the person's house and they had it in their home, they served some food. I don't know. In the Ashkenaz shuls of Amol,
Remember Gottlieb used to come to the shul? He told me that in his shul, when he was a kid, they asked him to make a kiddush on Friday night because some people didn't have enough money to.
Not supposed to make kiddush Friday night.
No, they all excited.
Yeah, good job, Nick.
Yes.
Till now? Till now?
That only one Friday night there.
all the Ashkenaz shuls, William Ginswell's do.
And they give it to a kids to
Till
drink.
you didn't, right?
Do any of the Lutfish yeshivas do that? I don't know.
They eat together, so they make the kiddush after.
Well, they're making kiddush in the yeshiva, so they don't need.
Yeshivas don't. So no, but that's the way they yotzet kilo. They don't. No one will do it in their shul. In the yeshiva zal to have
Well,
a.
they're making it at the dining room table in the.
That's how they. Because even though a lot of the yeshivas are davening Ashkenaz, also Ashkenaz,
I mean, the Ashkenaz shows in Lakewood don't do kiddush Friday.
they don't do it. It's interesting.
Yeah, good job.
They went back to the Nusach Ashkenaz, but they're not in this. They don't take on all Minhagi Ashkenaz. It's just the Nusach that they want. They don't go all Minhagi Ashkenaz.
The ground shul in Baruch.
Which shul?
Which are Rabbi Schneider, the Ashkenaz, they do it also.
What's the shul called?
Crown of Israel on 50.
Crown of Israel.
Everybody goes to
Rabbi used to go, I think.
Barbecue.
Yeah,
Rabbi
Rabbi
Shimon,
Shiner.
the
It's an
Talmud
older
Chacham.
person, right? And what street is it on?
It's on 56 and 18. Between the.
It's probably also Beth Kel, the big one, the big
about that. I just know
It's on
about
15th Avenue. But it's funny, in Young Israel, they make a kiddush, no food, no nothing, and the chazan give it to the little kid to drink. Not
Right.
to be a bracha levatala.
Right. That's what it says.
There's no food, no nothing. So why you do it?
Who?
I know.
Okay.
Listen.
Ein koivin tainus lachatchila bar Shabbos alon kain sheyite ma'at koidin kabbalah Shabbos yishakon Shabbos shemona. You don't be keveya lachatchila tainus and erev Shabbos unless you eat something a little bit before kabbalah Shabbos. Yishakon Shabbos shemona. We do also want you to eat something on erev Shabbos, not even though we want you to have taiva, not just to fast.
What's Shemona mean?
Alon kain istanis mo'ona miloshin tainus.
Highness?
Yeah.
Oh.
If you're a real istanis, if you eat even a little bit by day, you can't eat by night. I don't know if these istanis who they are, but such an istanis has
Some
existed.
people don't eat like 3 or 4 hours before they go to sleep.
I don't eat.
Don't eat and don't drink, nothing like that.
Over here is a whole day.
No. 3 hours before.
Ahmed, what am I more? The tiniest yochid, Shane Kabulate man, Sheffield is honest, the tiniest be you can fast on a different day. Avol Zmani about a Shabbos, if the time is Erev Shabbos, you're going to Misana time meet the Yoshel, you may Misas Hatzadikim, she's Barbas and Fakupay. Bechena Misana, someone always fast Erev Rish Chodesh, which is called Yom Kippur, Erev Yom Kippur Cotton. Eini Tzarich Litches Atainus Liyoim Acher. You don't need to push off the tainus another day. In either Erev
Well,
Shabbos.
Tainus is on Thursday.
V'chein hamasane b'chol depends on which chodesh it is. V'chein hamasane b'chol yimei sashvuos b'oisa yoyim sanagam. Someone who fasts every day of the week also fasts Erev Shabbos.
Tanit Chalom.
V'ava b'shakol tanias elo v'sun. Shebe Erev Shabbos einam choyva kalal. And so the choyz they cover Shabbos. Iser zeshli kol Shabbos shemona iser kalhu. This iser that you shouldn't enter in Shabbos fasting is an iser kal. It's a light iser. Well, they chashel shalei kvay by tanas lachatchila kishe efshel lekoy b'yemacher. When nisha efshel lekoy b'yemacher, and it's because the tainus don't push the tainus legamli b'shvil kach. Rashoy lahasham tainus by the Shabbos atzes kichavim. And in such cases where the tainus is kavua for that day, then you're allowed to go until tzeis kichavim. In kibul of tainus b'mincha. Is someone that the mincha before, meaning on Thursday before mincha, you accept it upon yourself Friday at tainus. However, and if you finished maitiv during the day, Shabbos feels that it's oishim anim b'Shabbos l'shah achas shemskaven l'shem tainus. Oh, very interesting. You take in Shabbos early, and you're also fasting out of Shabbos because you have these various tanesim. You fast these tanesim. So what should you do? You daven ma'ariv, you finish ma'ariv, it's still daylight outside.
Still daylight, yeah.
Now you have a different problem. Says the Alter Rebbe. It's Shabbos. You're not allowed to fast on Shabbos.
That's right. It's Shabbos for you.
It's Shabbos. Yeah.
So the Yeshayim says you have to eat right away now. Now you have to break your tainus.
Even though it's before Chatzos. Before
Cheshek.
You're not allowed to fast even 1 hour on Shabbos if your kavanah is for tainus. Even if you makabel that tainus of Friday to Thursday by mincha, to a certain extent. No.
You don't need after the month.
Servatavis, we go until Kiddush on Friday.
Don't put on sneakers.
All this is Tanit Yachid, not Rabbi.
This is talking
That's a good question. He's asking another question. He's saying Tisha B'Av, we fast the Shah Achas because on Shkia, right, this year, right? Shabbos was Shabbos was Tisha B'Av, right?
Yeah. No.
No, Mitzvah Shabbos was Tisha B'Av. So Mincha After by Shkia, we don't eat anymore.
You're not doing anything, so
So that's what I have to see.
But he says you're not allowed to fast even 1 hour if you misgavel Hashem Tainus. Unless we're going to say it's been a shmoshes, you were
Yeah,
Michoel.
the fast starts at Shkia.
Another issue is it must probably the Tainus of Tisha B'Av overweighs this Isser fasting 1 hour on Shabbos. Although remember, Rabbi say that in the very beginning when we started learning the Shir and Kovod the Oneg, the mamish, the first sif in the beginning, we learned. We have to finish up. Go to Mayav now, but that there's 2 pirushim in Kovod, 2 as machloikis in
What is
Kovod and Oneg. Where is its original makor? The first makor is obviously in Yeshaya. Navi says on the pasuk, "V'krasel Shabbos Oneg l'kdeish Hashem b'chubed." And if you're going to keep Kovod and Oneg, the whole thing. Now, however, some want to say that somebody should have learned that the Torah says Mikra Kodesh, make it holy, means Kovod and Oneg. So Kovod and Oneg really are rooted in Torah itself and not Torah. All the Rishonim, including like the Rambam, they had no Mikra Kodesh just means make it holy with not doing malacha. Isar Asiyas malacha.
Yeah.
Kovod and Oneg, it's not Minat Torah, it starts off from the Nevi'im. Midivrei Kabbalah, Midivrei Sefer. It points out to Alter Rebbe in the Kundas Achin over there, and other places in Shulchan Aruch, he clearly says it, that even the Rambam who holds that it's not Midivrei Dinat Torah, Kovod and Oneg, but there's an Isser Minat Torah L'das HaRambam to fast on Shabbos and Yom Tov. There's an Isser to fast. And he proves it. It's from Rambams. It's clear. The Alter Rebbe pointed out, the Prima Godim points it out, that the Rambam sheet is that even though Mikra Kodesh means Isser Siyas Malach and Kovod Oneg is Midivrei Kabbalah, but Minat Torah, you have to eat something on Shabbos. You have to eat something. You can't fast on Shabbos. But it was probably
What's the
Minat
makar?
Torah. Minat Torah.
Yeah, but where's the makar?
Where is the makar? The Rambam never
You said
said
Minat Torah.
Where's the Rambam? The Rambam just writes a din that if you make a neder on something, which is also Minat Torah, your neder is not chal. If it's on Issa D'Rabbanan, it's chal. So the Mashal, someone says a neder that I'm going to fast on a day which only Midrabbanan it's Issa T'Tainis. So that your neder is chal, you have to fast. Although there's an Issa Midrabbanan that you're not allowed to fast on those days, it gets pushed off.
Yeah.
Because neder, the idea of a neder is the Raisa. However, Shabbos and Yom Tov says the Rambam, if you make a neder, then you say, I'm going to fast.
On
And I remember if it's a neder, a shvua,
You're not allowed.
that you're going to fast. On Shabbos,
It's not.
it's not chal.
Right.
Comes out clearly because it's an
So
ism and
that's what
Torah
you
to
said.
fast on Shabbos. Shaila is, where's the Makor from the Rambam? The Rashba already brings us out that the Rambam held this way.
He doesn't have any.
Shaila is, where's the
no
Rambam's
notes.
Makor? He never explained himself anywhere. He never has a clear din. It says, oh, sir, Lisanas B'Shabbos and Emar. He just, we see from the din that he holds that way. But where's the Svara? What pasuk in the Torah? So the Alter Rebbe says he learned it out from Michlu Hayoim by Man. That it says that you have to eat it today. You have to eat today. How exactly? But it's a mitzvah l'dayra. It's not a mitzvah l'dayra. It's l'chora. You know what's interesting? The Prima Godim who lived at the same time as the Balatanya, same time, maybe they overlapped. It was a little bit earlier, the Prima Godim. It dropped earlier, but they overlapped certain periods of their life. And in the beginning, he didn't mention any Prima Godim in the Shulchan Aruch. He didn't see it. But later on, in his Chuvas that were printed later in life, he already saw the Prima Godim. He mentioned them. Prima Godim says the same Makar, and he says Ulai. Ulai, the Makar of the Rambam is Michlu Hayom. That's all he says. Ulai Michlu Hayom.
Yeah, but that was
They both been
it's not the
the same Makar. Michlu Hayom. How do I understand the how
maybe
you,
it was
I'm not really sure.
maybe it was a tzivah for them, not for us.
I don't know. So I don't know. I don't have an answer. It's talking about the man. We don't have man.
But
He
he's
eats the man
just
today.
saying it's
Place a
speculative.
sirad by
He's not sure the Rambam holds
Pashtus,
like
I don't
that.
see.
You don't know what the Rambam holds.
Even though we don't have a
Huh?
today, we do
But it's not Menatoida. Over here, the Taz grad learns it is Menatoida. Like a
You
Mishnah.
can't tell me the Mishnah's only in the big bar with
But it's not learned like a Mishnah. The Taz learns like a
Yeah, but
Mishnah.
that's not Midiaraisis.
Liktu like a Mishnah.
It's
The Michoel,
Midiaraisis.
how did he learn out Menatoida? The Aruch Shulchan, I think, says, because
has
it
a right to
says
do it. But he's talking that was the
it's
Araisis.
like a double lashon there.
That's something
Go to the Rambam.
according to the Rambam.
Lamaisa,
And the Rambam has
I
no-
am not sure
has
it's
no
exactly
sign-up.
Limud,
That was the problem.
but at
But
least
it-
Al Rebbe and people got
it-
are getting us to think in the direction of where would be learned out from.
As you can.
Ichlu Hayoim. Exactly how we learn out from, I'm not sure. But it's coming to try to find for the Rambam. Where did the Rambam get this from? He saw somewhere where he felt it's an Isser Min HaTorah. But a L'chura, that's not an Isser for 1 hour. That Isser Min HaTorah is to fast the entire day.
The Rambam writes.
But if you fast for 1 hour, it's probably Isser D'Rabbanan, which we push off for Tisha B'Av.
The Rambam.
Now, the Inyan Halacha, let's just finish up.
the
Rabbi
Rambam
said we have
somebody
two
eats
shittas.
First Shabbos, he's punished, and after Shabbos you have to fast again, just because he didn't eat Shabbos.
Yeah.
Rabbi said, it's getting late.
It's finished. I'm supposed to be chayiv on that, sir,
Uh-huh.
of not eating until Shabbos. God forbid.
Okay.
Lamaisa Rabbi just to say over, he says, Inyan Halacha, there's two shittas. If you're fasting at a Shabbos, whether, and you daven early, does your fast finish after Ma'ariv, or you still have to wait for Tzeis? Okay, we had an opinion over here which said that once you daven Ma'ariv early, even though it's still daylight, you chayiv to eat. You chayiv to eat. Not only are you allowed to eat, you chayiv to eat. You're not allowed to fast. Who's the halacha like? The Alter Rebbe says the halacha is we should do like the second opinion. By a tainus yachid. By a tainus yachid, that's the only reason why you have a chiv to mashal mid is because you were makabelit. So since I was makabel after Kabbalah Shabbos, that's my Kabbalah. It was only to that extent because tainus yachid means I was makabel the mincha before. That it was my Kabbalah. I was makabel, so I was taking the Shabbos, so they meant that my Kabbalah only goes until then. Not until Tzeis, it goes till after Ma'ariv, because it was a Chatchila Yidei Kabbalah. Smaller time.
So you see a lot.
Yeah,
So a lot. He shouldn't fast after Shabbos.
you know, but L'Chatchila, he says, you should have been clear when you said your Kabbalah's Tainus the night before, the Mincha before.
Yeah.
You should have been clear that you're only Makabelit until Achi Yitziyah Beis HaKnesses. Should have mefarish it clearly. But if you're not mefarish it, L'Poya, we assume that was your Kavanah, and you're allowed to eat afterwards. But if the Tainus Sibur,
That's what we asked
the
before.
Tainus, which is very negayah, the Tainus, like Asara B'Tevis, right?
Yeah.
Asara B'Tevis falls on
That's
Shabbos.
before, right.
Every few years, it's happening. I mean,
Yes.
it's not such a common
On
kvias.
Friday. On Friday.
Not a common kvias.
It could happen on
It
Friday.
happens on Friday, once in a yovel.
What do you do then?
So he says, then Ashlama Bayuchayva, then you have to go like the Svaradi showing that you can't finish because you davened early. And,
can't
mine is
start
over. I can have my time. I can start eating. It's
No,
still
no.
daylight. And even if you made it tonight, the night before, it's not going to help because nothing to do with your tonight. The time is sibber. It's not at machmas your kabbalah and the mincha before. It's a time is sibber that the achiv to fast. We fast. It's not about up to you.
He's not going to help you make Shabbos.
Whatever you decide, you can't change the time.
You can't
The
overturn the
Alter Rebbe
Shabbos. You have no control.
the Alter Rebbe is mechalik between these 2 days. That depends what. For a tainus sibber,